Those are always fun, Tyler. Pissing off Jimmie Johnson in Atlanta a few years back has to be towards the top of the list for better or worse. So, yeah, I know Jimmie Johnson.
You pissed him off or I did?
No, I pissed him off. I pissed him off so bad.
Oh.
So, real quick story. We were in the media center, and my buddy Matt Corse and I were covering the race weekend together, and we're looking at some stories, and I'm looking. Well, he's looking. He's like, Dom, look, if Johnson doesn't finish top 10 today, this will be the longest top 10-less streak of his career, like ever in the Cup Series. I'm like, what, really? So like I start looking at the numbers, and sure enough, if he doesn't finish top 10, it's like 8 or 9 straight races without a top 10. At that time, a record for him. I mean, that's the longest streak at that time. So I tell Matt, yeah, so he's writing up the story. You need to interview Johnson about it. And he's like, nah, man, I don't want to ask him about it. Can you do that for me? I said, sure, I'll go ask Johnson. So sure, Johnson finished 29th or 30th or whatever, 2 or 3 laps down. Kevin Harvick won the race. And at that time, they would pull the top 5 to one side of pit road, and then everybody else would scram 6th place on. So like the rain just started falling. Harvick wins this race, early 2018. And I'm on pit road. I'm looking for the 48 car. And I see Johnson, and I flag him down. I ask him, hey, can I walk and talk with you? And he's like, sure. And his PR lady, like, no, don't. And like all these fireworks start going off. And I tell her, I said, well, he said I could. And she's all right, whatever. So we climb over the pit wall. And I asked Jimmie, I said, so whatever amount of races it was, I said, since your last top 10 finish, and that's the longest of your career, what needs to be done to turn it around, or something to that effect? And he turns and he looks at me and he says, I don't know. You tell me. We'll figure it out. And he gets on his golf cart and leaves. And I thought that was the end of it. Well, I'm on the airplane leaving Atlanta to go back to New Mexico the next day. And his PR girl found me on Twitter, reached out, and like asked me what the whole thing was about. So we went back and forth, and we cleared the air the next week in Las Vegas. But I guess Johnson did not like my question. It stayed with him.
Wow. Well, I mean, that sounds like a fair question to me, unfortunately,
Yeah.
but I guess he was probably just not in the mood for it. But I don't think you did anything wrong there personally. But
yeah, I don't know. That was a that interaction was interesting. And then a few weeks later, he picked up his first top 10 of the year at Auto Club, and I was there covering that. I was like, I want to go talk to Johnson about his first top 10 of the year. And he saw me come, and he kind of did like that little hero pose, like, yeah, come interview me now.
That's great.
What about you, Jeff? What comes to mind of some of the interactions you've had, some of those exchanges with drivers over the years?
Oh, man, there's probably too many to count. Unfortunately, I've been at it a long time, and you just, I don't know. It's just tough to avoid. We're not PR people, so we're inevitably going to write or say things or ask questions that people don't like or don't agree with. And, it would be nice if everybody would just, in a perfect world, they'd see what you'd write. Like Dom saying, oh, he doesn't have a lot of top 10s. And Jimmie would say, well, that's fair. I mean, we're not performing right now. And it's unfortunate. And that's a fair question. But a lot of people, especially the heat of the moment, they're so frustrated, and, they just can't get past it. So I've been yelled at, cursed at, gotten the silent treatment for a while. There's been plenty of not so great moments, but those are sort of the battle wounds that you go through, I guess.
Tyler, you have to have some stories too, man.
Yeah, I mean, I've had some interviews, because I've only done a little bit of print, so for me, it's mostly been live on air stuff over the years in radio. And when I did, radio and with different athletes or analysts and some back and forths, it's always intriguing. I think actually one in particular was on my other podcast I do, the Jones Report, with the Cope twins. I think they hung up on me at one point. It was after the Kevin Harvick situation, just asking some fair questions, whatever. So that's in the way back machine. That was a long time ago. So.